Okay, I'm playing with a reproducer today. It's an orthophonic aftermarket UK manufactured reproducer that came to me with this motor I'm doing service on. This is the garage motor. I don't know who made this exactly. Did it say on the back? There was some small print on it. I didn't look. This was a complete disaster when I got it. I've got it to play. I don't consider its sound as good as some of the HMV or the Victor reproducers, but it is working. Now, what the problems were. The needle bar was completely disconnected and had torn right out of the aluminum diaphragm. So that all had to be dealt with. Putting the needle bar on, that was easy. It's just a couple of little pivots here, an extremely simple design. Right there, the pivots just screw on, and this is a pot metal housing. It does have signs of deterioration already, but not to the terminal level yet. I was able to not break any chunks of it off. The diaphragm was a total loss. I managed to find one of my parts bin from who knows what, and I was able to reshape it, trim it a bit, and it did fit. The gaskets, surprisingly, were fairly recent. So somebody had been playing with this and had gasketed it. It was a black rubber gasket of some kind I'm not familiar with, but it's working. It seems okay. I left that alone. It was bigger diameter than exhibition reproducer tubing is. It was missing a screw here. It's still missing a screw because I don't have any parts for these. I had to reshape the front cover. That was all bashed in. I had to straighten the needle bar. So now it is in alignment. The needle is in alignment with the body of the reproducer. That's important. You don't want it kinked off to the side or any other direction because then you start to cut your records. I fitted it. I fitted it to the Victrola. This is the Victrola 9, the triple spring motor, Victrola 9. Yes, I know. 9s do not have triple spring motors. This one does because somebody put one in. You can see the motor board's been changed, although they fitted it really nice. This is the triple spring one I did some videos on probably about 4 or 5 months back. I got it onto the tone arm. It slips over the top of the tone arm. It did not have a guide pin, but it did have a threaded hole. So I took this thumb screw, if you like, off of a Victrola number 2, and it was the right thread. It fit the hole. I put it in there so it lines up properly. I was a little bit loose on the tone arm, and this part my finger is on is also pot metal. So I could not do anything to that to squeeze it a bit so it would fit tightly onto the tone arm. So I took this Gorilla brand duct tape I found at an estate sale a few weeks ago, and I attached it. It's holding very well, too. I attached it to the tone arm with that so it's not moving around. There's no air loss. It was a little bit right there, but I'm not worried about it. And I'm just going to test it to make sure. I already played a few records. I know it does play. And the volume is a little bit lower than I expected, but that I suspect is because it's a smallish diaphragm in there. Even though it is aluminum, it's not big. I think I know the HMV 5A one I tried to use on there was bigger. So this one, I don't know what it came off of. I had to trim it up. I had to replace the thumb screw here too, because on the needle itself, because there was a screw on there. I don't know if it comes that way from the factory. It might, but nothing is going to annoy me more than having to use a screwdriver to put a needle on a reproducer every single time I change it, which, as we all know, is once per record. So I found the right thread. I put it on there. I think this was off of a Heinemann reproducer that was on an outing talking machine originally. Now it's on here. It's working. It was the right thread. All right, let's try some Ambrose. This is a Man About Town. Just a few records that I know play well, and we'll listen to how it sounds. It was a lot of work putting this together, probably more than I should have done. But I like a challenge occasionally, and I did seal it up in there with some beeswax because it seemed the only way to get a diaphragm in this case is that it has to go through the front. So it has to be the exact diameter or smaller than the hole that's there, which means not a whole lot of that diaphragm is contacting the gasket. A stupid way to do things, but I'm imagining they were trying to get around somebody's patents maybe. I don't know. So what I did was I took some beeswax and just laid some around and melted it into place, just to keep that diaphragm from moving around or anything else happening to it while it plays. Always only use beeswax for that kind of thing when you're working on a reproducer or a diaphragm. Don't use paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is not flexible. Beeswax is. So it'll move with the diaphragm and the gaskets, while paraffin will start to crack and flake off. So always just use beeswax for that. It's readily available from apiaries or on eBay. You can get blocks of it. People use it for candle making. I use it for sealing the center holes in reproducers, things like that. The center holes in diaphragms. Okay, let's spin a few records here. Enough with the yakking. That's Ambrose. Actually, I have several records of Ambrose here. Plus, this is side B. All right. Actually, probably help if I put a needle on there. You see how irritating that would be if that thumb wheel wasn't there and I had to grab a screwdriver? For one thing, that would be impossible and still film it. Okay. There we go. All right. Well, I'm guessing it must have been the record I was playing earlier, because that one played with enough volume to ring my ears, which is pretty common when playing these 30s, 40s type records, with an orthophonic reproducer on a machine like this, with a loud tone needle. So that must have been why I thought maybe it had lower volume. I thought it was an air leak up here doing it or something like that. And of course, when you hook up a reproducer like this to a machine it was not originally on, you have to make sure you have the proper angle here. See how this thing sits on there? How the needle is not straight up and down? This is the proper alignment. That's where it should be. Let's put it all the way down. When it's playing, it'll be up in the air, a little bit of needle on it, but like that. Don't ever play one where it's straight up and down or kink to the back. Never. It's always got to be towards the front, angled towards the front, just like you see it right there. And that's especially important with this type of reproducer that does not have a guide pin normally on it. So you have to do it by eye. It's held in by friction. You have to make sure you get it in the right spot, approximate in the right area. So much easier when you're using the originals like the Victrola 4s and such, because they have a guide pin. See the pin in there? See that guide pin? That goes onto the tone arm. You rotate it to the right angle, and you can't go any further. Now you know you got the right angle. So that's always a lot easier. Most of the time I played with Victrolas, and these are the reproducers I play with. The exhibitions, the occasional number 4. Once in a while, I'll have an orthophonic, but not too often. And the HMVs are the same way because they use the same reproducers pretty much. Okay, we already played this record, so why don't we play both sides of this record? Why don't we put that back in the box and move on to whatever the next one is, which is, might be a little wear on this one. Twilight and Turkey on one side. This is Ambrose again. Like I said, I had 3 Ambrose records here to play with this. Caravan. Ambrose and his orchestra. Okay. I selected those Ambroses because I had intended to play this on one of my 101s, but which is a UK manufactured machine. But I forgot to bring the machine out here, and it's in storage, so we are improvising, making it happen. blasted me too. Ow! At least most of it. Okay, let's play side B. That was Caravan, this one. They have a little bit of wear in them. Not much I can do about that. They all got a little bit of wear in them somewhere. Most of them anyway. Especially with a popular band leader like Ambrose. You got to expect that. Okay, let's get... What happened? Oh. Went to grab the needle, and it didn't come. Alrighty. As you can see, we have Nipper supervising us today. Alright, let's see. Okay. So far, it continues to sound pretty good. And that's good, because that's about as far as I can take this. There's only so much you can do with these things. I'm not really familiar with these reproducers, how well they worked new, or what they're supposed to do. Not really something I'm exposed to too much, working mostly with controllers. Every now and then I do get an aftermarket reproducer that someone put on in the past on something that, because the original broke and it lost it. That's famous for happening with exhibitions because of that big back, rubber gasket on the back, the ice-litter gasket. They break, and when that happens, the reproducer falls off, especially on the open machines. And then it gets separated from the machine eventually, and you're just screwed. You got to go to eBay and buy another one. And they're getting kind of expensive on eBay. It used to be I could pick up an exhibition or a number 2 for what, $30, $25, $30. Now it's $45, $50, sometimes more. That's disappointing. And mind you, they're not rebuilt either. I still got to take care of that part. How many plays did I get out of this already? 5, I guess. I played a record earlier, so better wind it up. Yes, it could sometimes go to 6 plays, but I don't want to push it and have it stop in the middle. Some of these records do have a little wear on them. You start feeling resistance, you stop cranking. Never force it. We'll be playing with this this particular reproducer next in the next video, because that is another I just rebuilt and that needs to be tested. I haven't done anything with it yet, so I was just waiting for some time to be able to do it. That will be for the gentleman who I did the Electrola for, the Electrola 101. He has a pot metal number 4 on that machine, and it's deteriorated and really not rebuildable, and he wants something so he can play the machine without destroying his records, and this should fit the bill just fine. Okay. Oh, that was Ambrose, but I forgot to tell you what it was. Well, we'll look at it in a minute. We'll do one more. How do you say? We'll play the other side, and that should do it for now. I think everything seems to be okay. It's the only thing with this reproducer, you got to be real gentle with it. Can't bang these around. With these ancient pot metal reproducers like this, the metal is waiting to fracture. So you must always handle with care. Never try to over tighten things, force things, anything like that. Got to handle them like they're made from thin, fine crystal. Did I turn that record over? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. Okay, we have power. That was Toy Trumpets, and this side is Powerhouse. I can't remember. I was too busy talking and not paying attention if I turned it over or not. All right, I did not. So we'll play this. And there we go. Okay, that's it for now.